everyone, it's Tanny Games here. Welcome back to the channel. We are back with basically a video recording I did of me making my husband's Dreamsnap for this Lost Forest challenge. You will see that I live streamed my new account. I did live stream my main account, and I thought I would make a video of my husband's account. All three of them are fairly different. My old account was like a Winnie the Pooh themed. My new account, my main account, however you want to look at it, I always get confused what to call them. That one was meant to be more fairy-ish themed, but I don't even know if that even came across. And then my husband's, someone suggested on stream that I do like a Frozen theme, so that's what I did. That's what I did. So we went down a Frozen theme route. Now I remember someone doing their Dreamsnap and they had 4 of the Frozen stone rock items, and they had the Frozen characters in front of them, and I was like, that's such a cool idea. So I decided to replicate something similar to that. That was like my plan to do, is sort of have that kind of setup. I wanted to use the orange trees. Now here's kind of, I guess, a little trick. If you have the game on, say, like Xbox or Steam or something like that, and then you have other accounts signed to that platform, you can usually make other accounts to game on. So I'm in a family account with my husband. Makes sense, you know, we're family. So I actually opened up my game, which has like the DLCs, but I opened it up on his PC. So that gave me access to some of the basic kind of Storybook Vale trees. So even though he doesn't have the DLC, I was still able to access those, because in theory I could play all the DLC stuff on his save by using my copy of the game effectively. So that's how I've been able to get these trees, even though technically I don't have the DLC on his PC. Just a cool little trick there. So that was able to like get me the orange trees. I think if I open up the game again and open up his like copy of the game that doesn't have the DLC, I do think the trees are gone, I think. I do believe that's how it works. So it only works if you're in the other copy of the game kind of thing. So effectively I was using my game copy that has all the DLCs, but with his like login details in a sense. Sorry, that's a bit confusing, but basically that's how I've been able to do this. I knew I wanted the orange trees. I just felt they fit so much more with the kind of Frozen vibe. Like if you go into the Frozen realm, all the trees are kind of like that orangey colour. So yeah, that's what I kind of wanted to go to. Now I didn't have all the trees because technically I haven't played the DLC stuff. Like I haven't opened up the bind, and if you open up the bind you do get more trees, but I hadn't done that yet, so and I was in kind of like a rush. This Dreamsnap took me about 40 minutes, not including getting the final shot though, because you'll see towards the end of this video that actually it starts to rain, which ruins the submission. It does ruin the submission. So I actually go away from his computer, do stuff on mine, and then I come back to his. I just leave it running in the background, and when I saw it wasn't raining, I kind of went back on his PC and tried to get the shot, which took me about another 10 minutes. So less than an hour for this snap, which I was pretty happy with. You know, I don't know what it was. This one and my main account didn't take too long to do, which was very interesting. Usually it takes me quite a while to do my dream snaps. I would say on average about 2 hours. But yeah, this one only took me, like I said, about 40-50 minutes. It wasn't too long, so about half the time it usually takes me. So yeah, I think we did good. I think we did good with this. I wanted to do, obviously, myself in the submission. I think, you know, snaps that have a character in them tend to like in my personal view, I think they tend to look nicer. So, but I wanted my character to have kind of like Frozen themed clothing, just to match with the Frozen theme of this snap kind of thing. After I'd done the main setup that I wanted for the snap, I then worked on the tags and just started placing a bunch of items dotted around. I then realised obviously I didn't want to showcase any of these tagged items, so I do use the vine wall piece, and I do spread that across just to try and hide any gaps where I might see some of the tagged items and things like that. So trying to disguise them, trying to make it so that they're not visible in the shot. I am a bit nervous because obviously it's a decor challenge, she says in the quotation marks, because I don't believe in decor and outfit, but I know there's a lot of people who do. And I am a bit nervous that because there isn't a lot of decor in my snaps this week, I do worry if that's gonna like hold them back a bit, for people that do kind of specify outfit and decor kind of thing. I do worry whether I'm gonna lose votes in that regard, because to me forests are meant to be natural. Forests don't have a lot of like man-made constructions in them. They don't have man-made furniture items. They're meant to be natural. At least in my eyes, that is what a forest is. So when I did the setups for the dream snaps, I tried to keep them as natural as possible, because that is my experience. So I don't understand like forests that would have a lot of decor pieces in them, because that's just not something that you see a lot of. Like even on the banner, I think like there is like the tent and stuff, but there isn't really a lot of man-made. Like it's all natural pretty much, apart from the homes and the tent. So to me, that that was kind of the direction I wanted to go in with my dream snaps. And like I said, I don't know if people who kind of do focus solely just on outfit, just on decor, are gonna go, well, there's no decor because it's just all trees and stuff. I don't know, we'll have to see. It'll be an interesting one to see how it plays out, to be honest. But fingers crossed they do all right. I actually don't know this week like which one of my snaps I prefer. Part of me thinks I prefer the Winnie the Pooh one, I think, which usually isn't the case. It's usually that my main account is the one that I'm obsessed with, but I honestly don't even think my main account snap is the strongest this week. So we'll just have to see. We'll see how it goes. About halfway through putting down the tags, I do check my count. I think I readjust the position of my person and where the truck is, just so that I can make sure that I'm trying to maximize how many tags I get in the shot, because there is only a certain sort of area that the tags will count in. So obviously the further away they are, the less likely they are to count. So I did kind of do a little bit of adjusting so I can maximize like the tags that I did place down and things like that. So that is one little tip as well that I would share with people, is that if you're doing this, it's worthwhile checking like after placing a bunch of tags, just to make sure that they do count, because obviously you don't want to keep going further and further away and then find out that none of your tags count because they're placed too far back. So that is one thing that I would suggest, is to double check and make sure your tags are counting. If they're not, maybe move a little bit further closer to the tags, or see if you can bring them forward in any sense. I did try to check if there were any empty spots closer up that I could fill items in, especially the smaller items. Sometimes the smaller items are what really helps. You know, you can place certain items on top of tables and things like that, and I just think it helps boost the tag count. And things like rugs as well are really good because they can go under a lot of items, so you kind of like double layering your tags in one space, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's just something that I would recommend. if you did this challenge this week, I'm assuming most of you have done, did you go for like a themed forest? Did you go for something natural, or did you try and replicate forests from iconic Disney films and things like that? You know, things like Snow White or Frozen like I've done, or Winnie the Pooh. Have you gone down like a themed route or not? I do think like themes and references can work so long as they still kind of showcase the challenge. Like, they have to be a reference that if people don't get the reference, they still can see the challenge requirements in it, kind of thing. I think then they can work. So like, even if people don't get the Frozen theme in or the Winnie the Pooh theme in, for instance, so long as they could see that it was a forest, I think they should work. But we'll just have to wait and see. I was a bit gutted actually, seeing me put down that companion house. I was a bit gutted on stream when I realised that the companion homes don't work on the floating islands. I was like, what is that about? Hopefully that's something that does get fixed. Hopefully that's something they are working on changing and get sorted, because not being able to use like companions on the floating islands would just like not render them useless, but like it makes it harder for like doing dream snaps and stuff on them, which would just be annoying to me. Because I was really gutted that I didn't get as many kind of owls in my snap. I was planning to have quite a few of them, so I was a bit gutted not to be able to include them. I only had the one in the end on my main account snap because of that. Now you will also see a bit later on in this video, I do gather the villagers. So you can see in a bit of a sped up form how I kind of do that. I was a bit fortunate, it didn't take me too long to gather the villagers on this account. Usually I struggle a bit with it, it usually takes me a lot more attempts. But this time the game gods were like forgiving, and they actually allowed me to gather the villagers fairly quickly, which was kind of nice. It did make it a bit easier, but you'll see the process of how I gather villagers. You'll see that basically I set up a base camp in the peaceful meadow where I create a fence, and then I put one of the gathering items in it. I did try and figure out what ones I had on my husband's account. I don't know which items are sometimes like just randomly placed in various places that I've lost, or like if he does or doesn't have the items on his account kind of thing. Like I tried looking for the campfire and I couldn't find it, so in the end I take the cocoa stage that I originally had set up as a tag, and I move it into the peaceful meadow just to utilize for gathering the villagers. So you'll see that I basically create a giant fence, place the gatherable item in it, and then I just click on that button, just spam it over and over again till I get the villagers I want. The villagers I wanted were of course the Frozen villagers, so I wanted Olaf, Kristoff, Anna and Elsa. That's what I wanted. I couldn't see them on the map, so I wasn't entirely sure where they were. I was a bit like, where are they? Because like obviously sometimes you can just gather them from out in the wild. Like if I just had the villagers kind of hanging around, you know, walking in the peaceful meadow or things like that, then of course you could just grab them from there. But it's just when they're kind of like inside homes or things like that, or restaurants, then it gets a bit more difficult. So yeah, I just did this trick kind of over and over again, just waiting to get all the villagers. I think the last one I needed was Elsa, I think. And so it was just a bit of time waiting for her to come through. I do recommend as well, just be kind of smart when you do this gatherable. Like if you get the other villagers, don't go and put them into position until you've got all the villagers gathered that you want, because obviously you could call them back from whatever position you lock them in. But yeah, I gathered Elsa. I went and put her against one of the stones. I did have to move some items out the way just so I could get her into position. I tried to make sure there wasn't any gaps where she could get out. I stopped hanging out with her, immediately jumped into furniture mode, and then just placed a bunch of sort of little lights and stuff like that just to keep her trapped in one spot. And then obviously tried to disguise and hide them with the the foliage and stuff like that. I didn't fully block it in with the mushrooms because I did realize that I would have to place someone at the kind of like the giant rock next to Elsa, and I realized if I blocked it with the mushrooms I'd just have to take them out anyway to put the next person in. So you will see that I kind of remove those. Again, I do my little test just to make sure they can't escape, see what kind of spacing I have, and then I stop hanging out with the villager. I did then block Anna in with the mushrooms because I knew that was going to be kind of like my barrier to stop her getting out. And then sometimes, in case you're nervous, you can place a few extra, little lights or whatever it is that you use to block them in, things like cologne bottles and stuff like that. You can use that to block the villagers in. Then of course I move on to Olaf. I had to decide where I wanted him. I figured because he was a bit smaller, having him towards the front of the shot might be a bit more helpful. It might make it easier to actually see him, because obviously if he's, at the back and then behind a bunch of mushrooms or things like that, it might not be as easy to notice him. I then struggled putting the mushrooms back actually. I was like, hold on a minute, these should go into place here. They were here a moment ago. So I struggled a little bit with that, but I think I got it sorted in the end, and got him trapped in... Oh wait, does he escape? I can't remember if he escapes. And then I'm like, oh wait, no, I need to put him back. Or maybe he just has a larger wandering area. Yeah, okay. He has a larger space that he could wander in. So I just tried to get him to come a little bit closer, and then I closed up that space just so he had less space to wander around in. Because obviously the less space they have to wander, the more easier it is, I think, to control where they are, basically. Sort of less likely to have issues. I also used a rock there. I did realize, instead of using the items like the lamps and stuff, rocks would be perfect in this kind of thing, because obviously we stood at some rock structures, we're in the woods. Using rocks would be kind of like a natural setup, so I did make use of those. And then after getting them into position, it was just a case of taking a bunch of snaps. I did actually end up, I think I had to adjust how they were closed in. I think I had to close Anna in a little bit more. I think I had to close Kristoff in a bit more, because I think I gave him a bit too much freedom, and it made it quite difficult for getting the Dreamsnap. I can't remember if I take I think I take a basic version of the shot, I just kind of get something submitted, and then I was like, yeah, I don't really like this, and so I kept going for the shot that I wanted, and then it started raining, and then I was like, okay, well, we're gonna have to wait this out because this is not it. I don't want to submit a rainy Dreamsnap, so I did end up, like I said, just waiting and hoping to get a better submission than what I did submit. I also went with the raccoon pose, partly because my husband actually quite likes raccoons, so where possible I do try to include them in Dreamsnaps that I can, just because I'm like, oh, he likes raccoons, so that's my little nod to the fact that he likes them, and things like that. That's what I kind of try and do. Yeah, you'll see here it started raining, and I was really gutted about that. But I was trying to close Kristoff in because he kept getting a bit too close to where Elsa was, and that did bother me a little bit, because I was kind of like, no, you need to be in front of your stone statue. I can't have you wandering over to where Elsa is. But yeah, and then I was kind of like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm gonna have to wait on and things like that. So what I did is, when I was waiting, I actually backed out of the camera mode. That way, if any of them wanted to talk and had speech bubbles, they wouldn't be there for when I was ready to take the kind of the main shot. So that's what I did, is I stayed out of the kind of photo mode. But one thing I also did a bit later on was I did it off camera, but I actually gathered Jack to help the characters look forward, because I was kind of struggling to get them to look forward. So that's what I did. I used Jack so that the characters would look forward, and that's how I ended up with this Dreamsnap. So let me know what you think of it in the comments down below. I hope you enjoyed this video of me working on the Dreamsnap, and hope you found it a fun watch and stuff like that. And now you've seen all 3 of my snaps for the week. But yeah, let me know what you think, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye guys!